Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Korra news update video. This is going to be my thoughts on the Kickstarter campaign for the Legend of Korra Pro Bending Arena tabletop game from IDW Games. And yeah, that's the news that, finally the Kickstarter is live after a week's delay. It's finally up. And as you can see, within the space of 2 hours, I'm recording this basically just literally 2 hours after the campaign's gone live, it's basically met its goal. I think there's basically no chance it's not going to make the goal now with so little to go and so many days still left to go. I would immediately have a problem with there only being 16 days to get on board with this. It just seems like a really small, short campaign, and doesn't really give anyone who maybe would like the game but just has to make sure next week or in 2 weeks time that I have enough money to get to be on board with this. Especially with the way they do the shipping on this, it's kind of you kind of do have to plan things out if you don't have tons of money. So I would have definitely preferred it if it was a 30-day campaign, just to give a month for people to kind of figure this out. And especially after the week's delay, I don't know if it was always the plan to just do 16 days or if the week delay has affected anything, but I think 16 is very, very short. So yeah, let's get into talking about some of the details about this. So we've seen before more or less how the game works. So in this video, I'm not really going to cover how the game works or anything like that. I'm not really going to go into the Kickstarter video because it spends most of the early stages of the video just talking about the game and how it works. It does later on explain the whole deluxe edition thing, which is basically what the campaign does. So let's get into it here. So I'll actually start with the right hand side over here, which is where the usual Kickstarter tiers come into play. So you can just pledge money if you want without a reward, but I don't think there's many people who are going to do that. Then there is the standard 65, which is, that's it. They're not doing any stretch goals with this campaign. It's just a basically standard 65 or more gets you the deluxe copy of the game and everything, which I'll go over in a minute. And then there's the other tier, which is for retailers, and it's 195 for 6 copies of the game, which is obviously for stores that want to get some of this in, the deluxe version in, so they can sell it, and that's what that's for. And that's everything that they have here. And both of them are estimated for February 2018. So the game, even though it's being kickstarted now, the game actually won't be shipped out until February next year. So just be aware of that. So yeah, let's get into the about this project stuff. So here's what they do here. 65 gets you all of this, and they go over basically everything. Except they don't quite, in the exact detail, go over everything. They tell you everything you get, but not the specifics of some of the stuff. So you get the arena board. You get a dice as well, a referee die, which they don't show, I don't think, anywhere, but they do obviously mention that it's here. 3 Firefighter miniatures, 36 Firefighter technique cards, 1 Firefighter team board. So the 36 cards are obviously split up into 12 for Mako, 12 for Bolin, 12 for Korra. That's how it works. And then the team board, I think, is definitely the coolest kind of piece of art type stuff in relation to the game, because I don't think the deluxe box that you can see here is all that amazing. It's just stock pro bending images instead of stock normal images. So you get all that stuff. You get the same stuff but for the wolf bats. Note they spell Tano's name wrong there. T-A-N-H-O when it's spelled T-A-H-N-O. I really hope they fix that before the game comes out, because that's going to look really bad if they don't fix it. I hope they can get that done and that's just a mistake on the prototypes. I really hope someone has made them aware that that's not how his name is spelled. Doesn't give you much hope if they maybe go into some of the other pro bending teams, but that's just a little thing to note. And of course it's 12 for Tano, 12 for Ming, 12 for Xiaozu, and you get the Wolfbat stuff. The figures, unfortunately, are all unpainted. It seems like they all come on a colored base to some degree. That lets you know if it's the firebender on your team, if it's the waterbender on your team, if it's the earthbender on your team. but the actual figure itself, while it's really nicely sculpted, completely unpainted. It seems like they're all going to be in grey plastic. I think that's an immediate mistake. And as you can see over here, part of the big reveal here is that you get these other mystery teams. You can see it's like Mystery Team 7 over here. So you get 7 extra teams. That's like 21 other figures that you get, and they're all going to be unpainted. Could you really not have done something where like at least the main 6 characters, the Fire Ferrets and the Wolf Bats, are like painted to some degree, and then maybe you could be more accepting of the mass amounts of extra figures being unpainted? Because otherwise the game looks quite like impressive. The colors on the arena board, the really nice design here of the actual team kind of boards, the cards with specific names for each character, and like the flame, earth, water effect, the back of the cards with that nice design, and then as we'll get into, like all the token stuff, it's all very nicely designed and colorful. And then the figures, which are the big thing that make it like a tabletop game and not just a card game, all of a sudden they're just completely basically absent of color except for the bases. I think that's a big mistake, and I think for me a huge disconnect with the game, that the figures aren't painted like that, because it makes a lot of the characters blend together, not having some of the key like features of them, of like the color of their uniforms in the pro bending arena, the color of their hair, that sort of thing, that really makes them stand out. But yeah, the other stuff you get is 6 days tokens, and that obviously relates to the Wolf Bats. Their special power, which is written on the team board here, is days, so you get tokens that relate to that. Hold tokens, I think, is just another dynamic about the fact that they're like a cheating team, so like you hold them down. Yellow fans is the kind of penalty system in the game, a momentum token, 2 chi markers as well, and then you get your element tokens, which are the main thing that you use in terms of like attacking. Your Earthbender is going to do 2 attacks this turn in these specific locations, and so on, and you get the fire and water ones as well. You get trick cards, which are the kind of it says here 2 sets of 9, so you get 18 trick cards, and they are basically just these really powerful event kind of type cards that happen in the game that are really powerful effects. You get a rule book, 6 base clips, 2 sets of 3. I assume they're probably in relation to the figures to do something to them. They're not really clear on that. You get the limited edition deluxe packaging, which is just different stock art. I'm still a bit like, could you not have done something more with this? It doesn't really feel all that great, but it's fine. It's pro bending. The box is just the box. As I say again, no stretch goals. All of this stuff here that they're going to reveal over the days, you get, regardless of what day you actually like join the Kickstarter campaign on, you get all of these things. They're just not revealing the details about them until later on. So what they have revealed here for the first day is this Pro Bending Finals promo poster, and it's cool. It's definitely a cool little piece of kind of in-universe thing. The only issue I have is just like, Summer 170 AG. If this is meant to be in-universe, do we really? Do they really, in the Avatar universe, base the years off the Air Nomad genocide? I don't think they do. So there's a little bit of a like, that's very fan stuff in something that is fundamentally meant to be an in-universe flyer. And then like the whole PM stuff like that, they have yuans written on the thing, but they have like real times, and to some degree we assume they've maybe moved on to that, but it still feels a little bit weird. If there's anything, I'd want them to change the whole 170 AG, unless that is actually how, unless they confirm somehow, like officially, that is actually how they actually record years in the Avatar world. But I almost feel like that can't be the way, because it's just like, is it Sozin basically just saying like, oh, the years now start from basically the genocide, which is the year the war started basically. So that just feels a little weird to me as just a like, stickler for that continuity stuff. Then we get into the silhouette stuff. So obviously day 2 is what they'll reveal tomorrow, which looks to be one of the mystery teams, one of the 7 mystery teams. Clearly it's going to be a team of a fire, an earth, and a waterbender. Get your team card. I think they said there's going to be trick cards, and then there's clearly some form of extra token type stuff going on here as well. I assume this is probably like the team logo that goes here, and then maybe the names of the characters here. I'm not clear on. I think the biggest thing that I'm not clear on. Obviously what these are going to be is the characters. The character logo faces are going to be here, and then team name or something like that, or something about them here. I'm not really clear on if the characters that we're getting these mystery teams are going to be other pro bending teams, or if they're just going to be groups of characters from ATLA, from Korra, but characters who in universe have no connection to pro bending. So it's really difficult to see potentially who they are. This one here sort of looks like Korra, but I'm basing that on very little, so I really don't know who that could be. None of those stand out. Day 3 they reveal this stuff, which I think they revealed as other groups of trick cards and stuff like that you're gonna get. What is it that they specifically say up here? Tokens, mystery team, trick card mystery pack 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 30 mystery component upgrades. So I'm not really sure what they are, but that's probably a set of trick cards on day 3. Day 4 is another team, and again, it's another group of characters who we're not entirely sure of. They do change the shape of the team logo or whatever that is here. It's more square now. So is this a pro bending team or not? Again, I'm not particularly clear. I may be thinking that the first 2 are pro bending teams, just because the shape of their heads look quite similar. It looks like they're wearing the pro bending kind of mask thing. So I could see them doing that. The only ones that come to mind would be the Rabaroos and maybe the Tigerdillos are the most, I suppose, standout of the other pro bending teams. Porcupines perhaps as well. Not really sure though. And day 5 is another set of trick cards, I assume. Day 6 is another interesting one in that okay, Red Lotus clearly. So we're gonna get Red Lotus team. So Pali, Minghua, and Gazan, obviously, and this is Pali, I would assume, just because of the pose and the shape of the clothing that she wore. I think makes it quite clear, and then just the coloring of Red Lotus. This is the Firebender character. I think that's what they're gonna go for here with day 6. So that's probably the Red Lotus, of course, minus the here. Day 7 is going to be another group of trick cards. Day 8, it looks like they're going to reveal potentially 2 teams, and that there's how many figures is there here? They show 5, but it's probably 2 teams, and that they have to reveal 7. We'll keep track of that. But anyway, not really sure who these are. And not okay, who's that person with 2 things in their hands? I'm not entirely sure. Will they do non-benders or make it special in some way? Because this one here at the bottom, I think, is a Mon, who, you could fit him in as a waterbender, of course, that reveal that comes in later on. But then these other characters, I'm is it just a pro bending team, and then a Mon? Is one of them potentially the lieutenant then, with the Kali sticks? I'm not particularly clear. Maybe someone can figure out some of the more unique silhouettes that are going on here. Day 9 is another pro bending team. I think it is a pro bending team though, because you can roughly make out the shape of the pro bending kind of headgear on all of these characters. So I'd maybe think that's maybe a Tigerdillos or something like that. And then the thing, if they do have at least maybe 2, 3, 4 pro bending teams, is that if they do have a team card, they more or less have to reveal to us the names of a few new characters. In that, I think it's only the Rabaroos we know the name of all 3 of those characters, and then it's the Porcupines we know the name of I think 2 of the team, and then after that we basically don't know the name of any of the other pro benders. So if there is at least 3 extra teams, there's going to have to be some new name reveals, which is going to be pretty cool if that indeed is the case. Day 10 looks like another set of trick cards. Day 11 is another group here, and this is an interesting one, that they look like they're very unique poses that they're all in here. Especially this one here. It looks like there's a pretty big thing on the bottom, like they're surfing on some sort of like thing. I'm not sure, because a lot of people are speculating that maybe they will go for like a team avatar type thing, and this is like an older Toph or something like that. But nothing stands out immediately to me on this. You could still maybe make the case that it is headgear on all of these characters, so it could be someone else. The logo, the shape of the logo doesn't make it massively clear to me. Could be Earth Empire, but who would it be then? So not really sure on that. Day 12 Styles Pack. Two sets of 3 universal trick cards used by any teams. So I think that's the bit that confirms that the other ones are trick cards, because if they're saying that this is trick cards, then the other ones are as well. But they're universal trick cards, so they're not specific to a team. Day 13. This is Kuvira. I think that has to be Kuvira. Just the stance, the shape of the logo as well, the look of just the background. It seems very Kuvira. And then who would she be with in terms of a pro bending team? The other thing I suppose is potentially that these teams maybe don't all have to be groups of 3, because I don't think they confirmed that anywhere. That it's specifically that you get like 3 characters in each team. Yeah, they don't. I don't think they confirmed that, because it is this idea of like with some of the extra teams that they're meant to be like fantasy type things. So it could just be a case of just like one team is literally you get the Kuvira figure, and then to play as the Earth Empire team you have to use Kuvira as your Earthbender, but then you could choose any Firebender and any Waterbender that you want. I could see them doing something like that, because they do only have one like I think character face symbol there for that one. They do have 3 here, 3 there. This day here is weird because there's obviously 5 of them, and I think one of them is Amon and maybe some of the Equalist type characters, but not entirely sure what they're going to go for. Day 14, that looks like another set of tokens. I'm not sure what token type of tokens exactly. Maybe it's just extra. Day 15, I'm not sure with this one. It's obviously just one character again, and it's maybe Tarlock. Maybe I think this is probably one people will be able to figure out. I can't really think of anyone to mind beyond that. Yakone, maybe Triads, like because I think you could maybe go back and make a case that that's who one of the teams is. In that, like here, I can maybe think that this is probably like Triads and then like Amon or something like that. But in the comments, definitely let me know your thoughts are, your predictions for some of these characters. Then they have I suppose that's the clean piece of art for the cover, which makes it look a bit better. It is a nice image of the pro bending team. It's just a little tad generic. They do confirm that the project is friendly for anyone in the EU, Australia, and Canada, and then of course America's a no-brainer because it's an American website. There's the details, and they have some GIFs here where they go over basically the way the game works, give you an idea of the main characters. They only go over the fire ferrets and the wolf bats figures here, making it clear that okay, so they're going to be blue, kind of painted around the grey base is going to be the look. There's the team boards, and if we do indeed get a team board for every character, I think that for all of the extra teams, I think that's a really cool thing. And me personally not having a huge interest in the game itself, I would have loved if they had put a lower pledge tier where it was just like get all 10 team boards or something like that, because I like just the idea of like them showing the logos like this and so on. So maybe it makes it kind of sort of clear here that okay, the ones with the kind of that octagon little symbol are pro bending teams, but we're not sure. I think there'll probably be a way if you look at some of the teams to figure out what's what. That gives you an idea of how the game works, and then they go over some videos that cover the game at conventions. There's a deck building element. You can personalize your team. They go over they just go over a lot of this stuff about how the game actually works. There's the mystery teams again. This is a better look at 3 of the characters. Again, I'm not really clear on, because I would have said that this is Mako here probably initially, But then, like, who's who? Like, there's probably like Wei and Wing at some point in one of them. But other than that, I'm not really clear. But yeah, that's most of it. And then they go over meet the teams. There's the fire ferrets. There's the wolf bats and the fire ferrets. There. So they go over here actually. 7 expansion teams, which make up 15 miniatures. So the thing with I think the obvious Kuvira one is that, okay, that team only has 1, because like if you obviously divide 7 into 15, it's like two remainder 1. So it's not all groups of 3 teams. So it looks like it's if we go back over it and count up the 15, what do we get to? Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. So I was thinking that they'll give the whole Red Lotus, but are they just giving us Pali just on her own? That's an interesting choice. But anyway, let's think about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20? I don't think that's right. So if we add up just the character logos, the ones that don't include it, then it's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, none? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So then, if there is only 15, then what's day 8? What is day 8 if they show 5 silhouettes for figures, but there's nothing else? I think someone asked in the questions, I was looking at this earlier on, about like, why is there silhouettes for 20 figures, and like you don't seem to talk about them, and it seems to be some sort of a like mystery. There'll probably be some reveal of like, it might be some sort of a like non-bender expansion type thing to the game, or some like extra way you can play the game where it's like benders versus non-benders to signify that event in the show. But yeah, that's most of the stuff presented here in it. My thoughts are that, like, I think it's a really well put together Kickstarter campaign, with the only real issues being, I think, low amount of days to actually back this thing to get the deluxe version. I personally wouldn't be a fan of them holding back most of the details on all this extra stuff. I think they should have, at the very least, revealed 1 or 2 of the extra teams on the first day. I think holding it back so long isn't very good, and especially with it only being a 16-day campaign, they're basically having a reveal every day up until the day it ends. And I think for people who want to really make sure that the character that they want is included in this, that's not a particularly good thing, that like by the time they reveal the last figure on day 15, there's only a day left to actually back it. And I think there will be some people who wait until the end and could miss out depending on how the hours work on that last day. So I would be all for them being a little bit more open about what exactly the other stuff is that you get in terms of who the figures are. And then, do you get a team board with all of these characters or what? And then I think obviously day 8 is very vague about what exactly it is, given the other information that they present in this thing. But yeah, I think I covered everything here. Soon to reveal the mystery team. Yeah, we covered that. There's the teams. Trick cards. 30 punch to plastic upgrade components. Punch to plastic upgrade component. Not exactly sure what that's about. And then they go over here that the shipping is added on. So you pay $65 to get, like, you know, pre-order the thing, but that doesn't include the actual shipping of it. So depending on where you live, you have to pay the extra, which will be paid after the campaign comes to an end. And then they just go over that they're also manufacturing potential stuff. There could be delays and so on. So yeah, as I said, the campaign I think is very well put together with the graphics and so on. The low amount of days for the campaign is not particularly great. I wish they'd be a bit more open about what the extra stuff is. And I think perhaps offering some sort of a basic version without all the extras, just for like a cheaper version for people who just want the game and don't want all the extras, would have been an option to present. And then even just offering some of the stuff like piecemeal, of just like if you only wanted a few of the miniatures, that you could have just pledged like 20 and got a couple of the miniatures. For people like me who maybe wanted only the extra new art stuff or the team cards, like offer those for like a cheaper price. I don't know how big of a problem, if that's even possible to do, but that's the sort of stuff of just like, you want parts of this game but not the whole thing. I would have preferred them to be a bit more open about that. And then the game itself, obviously, I'm not particularly excited about it. But I think this Kickstarter has done enough, and especially with the deluxe stuff, that like I'd actually be like, oh, actually, like if depending on who the other characters are that they reveal, I'd actually be very interested to see what they are. At the moment, I don't think I'll be able to afford the game. As much as like I love to get all Avatar merchandise and review it for you guys on my channel, I think it's just something that right now I can't justify, buying, because it costs just enough that like for something I'm not like crazy excited about, I can't really bring myself to just purchase it in that way. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. So just like maybe if there was a kind of cheaper thing that I could kind of pledge to get the bits and pieces I want out of this, that would be cool. But as it is, it's fine. And I think that's the success of this for me, that it went from being this thing I really didn't have much faith in at all to actually like putting on a pretty good show in their Kickstarter campaign. Hence why we're about approaching 2.5 hours after the campaign's gone live. They've hit their goal. This thing has hit their goal. From here on out, if you join onto this thing, you're gonna get your set because it's confirmed now. So that's really cool that they've hit that. And obviously their plan is to do other Avatar Korra tabletop games. So the success of this one, speaks to the fact that it'll be successful going forward. Yeah, so that's basically my thoughts on the pro bending game. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. I think the main thing I want to hear your thoughts on is who are your predictions for those extra teams, the extra characters? How many of them are pro benders versus how many of them are kind of, I suppose, notable characters who don't have any connection to pro bending? Let me know your predictions about that below. And then I'll just end by saying, if you really do want me to review this game, then there's always the option of supporting me on Patreon. I link that in every video I make. You can look at that and back me for the videos that I do. And basically any money I make basically from my Patreon goes back into my channel, whether that be through like equipment to help me make videos or stuff to review. And if you guys want me to get this game and review it, the Patreon is a good way to let me know that that's something you actually like. But I'll end the video there, so thanks for watching, and bye.